Well, hello, welcome back to another wet and windy day in Guernsey. Now, yesterday I was out and I came down to this mark. I did a bit of bass fishing, and luckily enough I connected into a few fish. Now, none of them were big, they were all fairly small, but I got them all on a surface lure, the Patchinko 140. Now, I've come back down today. Conditions are very, very similar. However, I can barely see at the moment because the rain's coming down. Yeah, however, it's been raining pretty much non-stop today. I think it's due to stop for about half an hour or an hour quite soon. So hopefully that actually happens, but it's been pouring down ever since first thing this morning. Now, I was going to go somewhere else this afternoon, earlier this afternoon, to fish a completely different mark. That was my plan. However, as the day progressed, I thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to go down that mark again and try and see if it was a one-off or not. There's no harm in trying. So sure enough, I'm back again. I'm going to be sticking with the surface lure to start with. However, I might change it up today and use some soft plastics maybe. So I've just got down here. State of tide is pretty much identical to what it was yesterday. I'm about 20 minutes or so earlier than I was yesterday afternoon. So I'm going to fish for the next hour and a half. Fish are tied up a little bit. Hopefully we see some action. Yeah, I'm going to start pretty much straight away. I got some waders on today, which makes it a little easier after 2 full boots yesterday afternoon. So a little less talking, bit more fishing. Hopefully we can find a bass today. So I'm going to leave my bag and that other camera there. Just use the chest cam for now. Hopefully I can get out to these rocks. I won't get long on here because that down there is surprisingly deep. It's very similar conditions to yesterday. Bit of chop, bit of swell, murky water. Hopefully some fish. Oh no, there's a bird there, bloody hell. Bugger off. Right, let's try that again. Whoa. First cast, got harassed by a bird, and there's another one there. Bugger off, the little buggers. Well, no signs of any bass yet. These bloody birds watching my lure drive me insane. A bit more swell today than there was yesterday. There's a bit more colour in the water as well, and also a little bit more chop, which makes it really difficult to actually see the lure out there. So yesterday I was able to see any swells behind the lure. Now, unless they're really dramatic. Oh, there's one, there's a bass. Boom. Yes. Oh yes, definitely saw that one. It's not big, but it's a bass. Oh, such good conditions. Really is. Or actually, it could not too bad. It's no beast by any means, but that's an alright. Oh God, he's only just hooked. There we go. First bass of the session. Brilliant. Boom. First bass down. I've got him in this pool here. There we go. That's a lovely looking fish, that. Lovely green tint to it. Give that about £2, maybe 45, 46 centimetre. Taking on that Patchinko. And luckily I just got the camera on. I certainly saw that swell. That's awesome. God, you can see how very lightly hooked this fish is. Look at that. Straight off. Oh, I'm absolutely chirping about that. I was just thinking, I just need that tide to push in a little bit more, and that's when I think the bass will turn up. First fish down. But what a take that was. I certainly weren't missing that one. But here we are. It's a lovely bass. Beautiful colours on this one. But what a fantastic start. Winter bass fishing once again on my surface lures. It's great stuff, that. Let's get him back in the water. There we go, he's not hanging around. And off he shoots. Oh man, this is what we all live for. Coming out middle of March, well not middle of March, start of March, soaking wet, getting absolutely drenched in salt water. Top water takes from a bass. You can't beat it, man. It's incredible. Now with that tide pushing in, this is optimum time now for some bass to arrive, so hopefully we'll see a few more. Now I'm going to leave that other camera to one side for now and just use the chest cam. I'm getting absolutely soaked. Now I do apologise if there's any water on the lens. I'm trying to keep it dry as often as I can. Let's get that lure back out there. Now with these surface lures, I'm working it just a tiny bit slower than I normally would. I'm not working it really slow. And sometimes you've got to turn the handle of the reel fairly quickly because there are patches of tide here and current where it's actually bringing the lure towards you. So a lot of the time you're actually just winding in. Oh, there's a big hit, big swirl. Come on. Is that going to come back? Big swirl behind the lure just then. The bass has showed up. Yeah, but what I was saying is sometimes you're just winding in a slack and then you keep twitching the rod tip just so the lure keeps moving, keeps working, sorry. Well, that was a nice swirl behind the lure then. Now you could be fishing a soft plastic or a diver and your hookup rate could be a little bit better because, you know, some of these bass are going to be reluctant to hit top water, but I'd rather just try and see, you know, if they will take it and how you can almost force them to take it just by slowing the lure down or pausing it. There's definitely fish in here now. That one looked like a small bass. Now as the tide floods in a little bit and it gets a little bit deeper, I may stick a subsurface lure on. But the only problem is there are loads of boulders under the water here, so you've got the risk of getting snagged up, but I may just chance it. Yep, I'm in again. Just small again. Really weird take that, really subtle. This is a smaller bass for sure. Yeah, it's just a little piddler, this one. Oh, come on. There we are. Just a small one, that. Look how white that thing is. It's a proper winter bass. Just a small one. Whoa! Just flapping around, I just slipped off the rock. Beautiful. So next cast in, can we get another? I had a couple of takes like that yesterday as well, where there's just no splash. They just must come up from under the lure must be sitting quite horizontally, and the rod just bends over. You don't really get a hit like a big swirl. But it's nice to see some bass in here the last couple of days. Obviously nothing big, but to get a few numbers this time of year, it's great. And to be catching on a top water as well. I said it yesterday, but it is amazing. I'd rather come and miss a few fish, but still hook up on a few and catch them off the top, than to be fishing a diver or plastic. So much more fun this way. Well, how about that? First cast of the Samson Shad into a fish. Again, just small. God, he's going crazy, this one. Look at that under the water. First cast with the Samson Shad. Boom. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. There we go. Samson Shad doing the business. Well, that's the lure it was taken on. Little Samson Shad there. This is the 25 gram version. Picking up that little bass on the first cast. It's only a tiny one, obviously, but bass is bass. Marsh. Well, you don't get much more bassy conditions than this. I'm going to stay on this rock for as long as I can. It does get cut off behind me. I'll change the hooks to singles on this lure. This is the first time I've used it since doing that. So first cast with the singles on my shad, and we got a hook up. I'm just blasting it out, casting it across the wind at the moment, and then so that lure's sinking, and I'm just sort of twitching the rod tip like you would if you're working a lure on the surface, but it's doing the exact action about 6 inches below the surface. You can give it longer pulls if you want. You can just switch it up. I don't want it to sink too deep because there is the odd boulder here which you can get caught up on. But that bright white lure in water like this is going to pop out There's no way the bass are missing that. All the lure's doing is just zigzagging, but about 6 to 8 inches under the surface. Whoa, these shads are amazing. So I've just had a little 5-minute break. Now yesterday when I was here, I actually stayed for, I think it was about 2 hours in the end. And then I ended up fishing the tide up. Now today I'm not going to stay as long as that. I'm only going to give it another 15 or 20 minutes I think. However, what I'm going to do now is take this little shad off and I'm going to put the patch back on. Now those rocks I was stood on are getting covered, they're cut off now. So I'm just going to wade sort of knee deep, no deeper than that, blast the lure out. I'm watching a few birds and they're flying quite high, but they're clocking something in the water, so I'm just going to blast this lure out and work it on the top and see if we can get any more bass before we go. Now I'm actually not going to wade too deep here at all because you've got this shingle that slopes down and sucks out. But those birds are definitely watching something out there. Well, I think that's going to do it for me today. As I said, I'm not staying too late. It's actually, the light's starting to fade a little bit now. Now yesterday when I was here, I was fishing off the shore as the tide rose. And I picked up a few more before I left, just from the shoreline. However, that tide's a little bit lower than it is if you do stay in for another half an hour or so. I have had a few casts where I was yesterday, but no swells, nothing like that. I have a funny feeling that the bass have moved further out because all of those birds, whatever they're clocking in the water, way out in the distance, way beyond casting distance. So possibly the fish have just moved off, maybe they've gone deeper, maybe they'll come back as the tide floods in more. I really don't know, but it's been a fun little session, short one today, a few bass. I think we had 3 in the end, 2 on the Patchinko and 1 on the little Samson Shad. So it's been a success, hasn't been a blank. A few more bass to add for the March diary off the top as well, so can't complain with that. Yeah, and hopefully I'll be out again sometime soon. So until then, thanks very much for watching this video. I'll catch you on the next one.